Well, today on the early stage podcast, we have my buddy Beni from Solyd Phone Cases to come on and talk about his new consumer product, man. I'm really excited to have you on, and I'm really a big fan of consumerism. I'm really a big fan of the mobile push. So, welcome
Absolutely.
aboard.
Thank you so much for having me on board. I've been a fan of the podcast for like ever since you started, and it's a pleasure to be here. Obviously, I love spreading some knowledge and my vision about how we are viewing this consumer product, and super happy to dive into it.
Love it. You've seen all of my different podcast iterations, and
Yeah.
I appreciate the following along. It's good. So for the people that don't know you and may not know Solid, why don't you introduce yourself? Give us the backstory. What got you to where you are now, and then let's talk about Solid.
Absolutely. So I've got into crypto about 5 years ago, a little bit more than 5 years ago. I initially ventured a lot around from BTC to ETH to all of the other stuff until I eventually ended up on Solana. And after I did my first smooth transaction on Solana, I basically moved the whole bag over and I just transitioned to be here. Traditionally speaking, I'm actually an engineer in Web2, but many people don't know about that skill because I'm just,
Hmm.
like a salesman through stories in Web3, especially now for the cases. And also I've been doing some content creation. But yeah, in Web3, in Solana. I did a lot of things, but I think most notably I was contributing to the DeFi world in, let's say, my previous life. I was really amazed by how it worked, what are the possibilities in this permissionless system, some mechanics that you can unlock with the different products that have been built specifically on Solana. So I was contributing there with like educational posts and also working with some of the top protocols in the ecosystem. But during the whole time, I knew that I want to start something of my own. I just didn't yet get the feeling of this is the right idea, this is what I want to do. So we actually went through quite a lot of iterations until we arrived at the idea of Solid, and they were all completely different ideas. None of it was actually consumer. It was from the fields of AI and real world stuff, and even not software, but other hardware stuff. So there was a lot of iterations, and then we finally arrived at Solid because, um, yeah, because basically we felt like there was a missing piece, a puzzle piece that we can put in there for Solana Mobile because it essentially ended up being the first crypto phone that made it. Even if most people didn't use the first version, it was something to be spread for 20,000 unique people, and then they would end up
Hmm.
exploring the unique features. So then they announced the second device that chapter two is going to come along. And at that time, nobody knew that it was going to be a phone. People were just guessing, the best guessing, that it's going to be a similar device because there was a lot of requests like we need something that has a better battery or a better camera. So basically, people wanted a better device at a more accessible price point. And just after hearing that, we were like, let's take a bold bet and bet that it's
Mm.
going to be a phone, but what is the missing piece for this phone? And because it's something so valuable, most people use it essentially also as a hardware wallet and a storage for their valuable funds. And you also get some rewards and benefits on them. It needs to be very well protected. And we felt like this didn't happen with the first phone. So let's do something for the second phone, basically.
That's awesome. Good bet. Good
Thank you.
decision. I didn't know you had a developer background, but be that as it may, your content creation is really good. Uh, credit where credit's due.
Thank
I
you.
was just snooping your guys' first transaction from space. So did you guys get a Guinness Book of World Records for that?
We're working on it. It's actually harder as it sounds like. Like it's not like you break a record and you instantly get it, but it would be super nice, to put basically Solana and this activation into the Guinness World Record books. And I'm happy to dive into that as well, like how did it do it and whatever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. Tell me. I saw like there was a Soulflare integration. Tell me more about like your marketing angle, what
Hmm.
you've learned, that whole piece. Because you must be
Yeah.
full blown. You traveling the globe, going to all the conferences, doing your part.
Absolutely. So let me start from a little bit earlier of like the idea of doing cases was only to do phone cases for the Seeker, which is basically the second Solana mobile device. But we wanted to do it in a way that the materials we are use are premium combined together and they actually protect the device and the designs that we have on the back they combine traditional art and crypto culture so we can cater to both audiences. If you prefer something minimalistic, something more elegant, you can also find something for yourself. But if you want to wrap, for example, your community, let's say Bonk or MonkeyDAO or any of these communities that are very strong in Web3, you also have an option to select for yourself because traditionally this was not available for the mobile. So we felt like we needed to do it. And with all that in mind, it was still like a unique phone case, but we needed to show this to the world. Like, how is this phone case going to be in front of everyone? How is everyone going to know about what Solid is? So we came to the conclusion that we need to do some Red Bull type marketing, something so extreme that most people would pick their heads up and just remember this forever. So we came up with the idea of grabbing one of our phone cases, putting it onto an actually working phone, and sending it up into space. And while we were imagining this, how that would look in space, super epic, the blackness of space, we figured that we can actually do something more, take it a step further, and on the phone that is in space, perform the first Solana blockchain transaction beyond Earth.
Very,
And
very cool.
yeah, it was a massive challenge, though, but thankfully we managed to create an ecosystem-wide activation, and a lot of people have given positive feedback on this.
That's good. Sometimes it takes throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticks, and a lot of times it requires having fun. With being a consumer brand, I think fun should be your guys' middle name, and it looks like you guys are really hitting that well. And next, like, tell me about like using the Soulbound technology because I was snooping through the website and I'm familiar with the Soulbound because I had the first Saga phone and I know that there'll
Hmm.
be another one for the new one.
Hmm.
Tell me about some of the technology that's being included here.
Yes, absolutely. So beside these two layers that I've mentioned, the premium materials, which are going to protect the phone and the design on the back, we felt like there is a very unique, unexplored opportunity we can dive into with this product. And the reason for that is obviously at first we want to enable people to spend their USDC and just very simply get their case with USDC. But this also allowed us for a wallet connection basically. So we felt like we could create a tie between a physical product, the phone case, and an on-chain identity which would basically be the Soulbound token. And for those of you who don't know what's a Soulbound token, it's basically an NFT which is non-transferable. It's going to stay in the wallet wherever you receive it or wherever you mint it. And the sole purpose of it, in our theory, is to identify the case holders on chain. Now, don't think of identification as like you get your name and address or everything there. It's just simply the wallet that you have used. And why is this super crucial from our perspective? Well, you get people who are buying an accessory for a Web3 device, which they already bought with their USDC, and they are going to most likely use it at least in the first months to explore what's the benefits and how they can how they can do something good with it. And we got them to get this case to protect the device. And with having all of the unique additions, currently we have 7 additions, you can basically differentiate and select on chain which individuals or which wallets hold which additions. And if you are, let's say, Monkey DAO and want to cater something to the monkeys who have been the most supportive, you can easily look at the people who have purchased a Monkey DAO themed phone case, and they also have an on-chain Soulbound token. And there you can simply just look at the analysis of the on-chain token and say, okay, this guy got the case and actually holds a monkey, or this guy got the case and actually bought a monkey in the last 3 months. So, this allows tapping very deep into this community that we are catering. So, what's in for the people that are buying the case? Well, it's relatively simple. We are trying to get as many benefits for having the case besides the obvious, the protection and the good looks. We're trying to cater some perks, some on-chain rewards, and obviously the most common thing, some airdrops as well for the people. And my last point is basically, why would something like this be worth it for any project exploring? The very simple answer is that these individuals are much more likely to engage with your project. They are much more likely to invite their friends to explore than just going with the broad general distribution.
I like that. It's also kind of like guerrilla marketing. You
Yeah.
know, you're putting the monkey on the back of your phone. It's like you said, you're proud of it in the right places. You want to show the people that you know. It's an interesting story, and I could see a future. And I'm sure you're probably already being propositioned by other NFT communities, other meme coin communities, even other applications,
Mhm.
being like, hey, like, can we build a phone with you and then have that given to our users? Like, is that true? Are you guys starting to be approached by other people about this as well?
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of inbound interest, especially after our launch and especially once we did the space video. But I definitely only view that as just the beginning of this new chapter, that those
Mm-hmm.
stunts and activations were enough to explode in Web3 and just make ourselves more reputable. And now it's time to actually spread education, just like we're doing in on this podcast. Like I'm explaining how we are viewing this rewarding experience with the Soulbound token, just increasing the brand awareness so more people know what our vision are, what our plans are, what can they expect from us. And in terms of the inbound partnerships, the interest has been awesome, and I think we are
Nice.
on a good track to create a platform for both artists and communities to showcase their artworks physically for
Mm.
either their fans or collectors, while also allowing the possibility to always from now on approach them on chain super effectively. So it's a very interesting combination.
So is that in relation to putting the art on a phone case, or is it sort of a separate product?
I think mostly currently on the phone case, and also right now, obviously,
Yeah.
we are only focused on the seeker, but this is only
Yeah.
going to be broader in the future.
I like that a lot. And like, I'm sure the number one thing you get asked is, when can I customize my own self? And I think there's sort of an important part there that, and you may already be thinking about it, is because this is, intrinsic to Solana and blockchain verifiability. It's like, yes, you can customize your case, but you have to be able to like prove that you own that NFT to put it
Mhm.
on there. Because I think that really like adds like an extra layer of like, I know I'm going to be the only one with my NFT on here because
Mhm.
I had to prove it to get it printed. Is that
Yeah.
like something you guys also think about?
Yes, most definitely. It's a very smart approach which you just laid out there. And I think it also is essentially just displaying what the blockchain allows. Like it allows transparently verifying which
Yeah.
wallet hold what assets. And then if you can provide a platform for individuals to prove that they have owned it,
Yeah.
and then get a custom piece of it. That's something really unique. Something that we also need to think of because really, if we go down this rabbit hole, it's very deep. But imagine you owning an NFT, uploading it,
Mm.
verified on chain, getting it, but then selling the NFT. You know, also what happens then. So we need to think about all of these aspects. And also, some people just want to have something that's not an NFT, just like, I don't know, a family picture or their dog or something that motivates them a
Yep.
goal. So, off-chain or like normal image uploading is also something to explore.
Though I should say, not that everybody will want to, and maybe there's a way to do it privately, but you could, using like Metaplex, have them mint that to the blockchain,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then it becomes an NFT, and you put
Mm.
it on there.
Hmm. Yeah.
But privacy implications, is there a way that like nobody could ever find that? Maybe it uses RCM or something like that,
Mm.
and like, but it's just a way to. It's like an onboarding. Look at how easy that was, and now you get to put it on your phone. Because if they're buying the phone and the case, they're at least blockchain curious.
Yes.
Not nobody's going to end up with the seeker phone and not know that it's also got a hardware wallet embedded into it.
Yeah.
Like
That's
that would be
absolutely right.
asinine at this point.
That's right.
The other thing that I think is really cool is, and I've thought about this a lot. Our persona lives on Twitter, and it's in the form of one PFP, and it
Mm-hmm.
can only ever be one thing at a time. I remember years ago I used to have like different NFTs in my banner, but it just doesn't hit right. It's you got one thing, and if you change it, it's like some people have the same monkey for years or whatever, right? Like you have yours for a long
Yes.
time, and what could be cool with the phone case is like customizability to include like multiple NFTs. So
Mm.
maybe like and like in like square geometric. So it's like you have your main one and maybe another main one, and then you throw in a little one, and like the rest of it is pieces. And like maybe like you pay more for the customizability, and you've got like slots, but like a modular phone where like maybe you could like today I'm feeling this one, pull it off, or I'm feeling that one. I think it would be really like really fun.
Yeah, it's something to explore definitely, and another opportunity for us as a team
Yeah.
to eat some pain away from the users so they can just upload their
Yeah.
NFTs, upload their images, and it's
Yeah.
instantly going to look good and they can get the case
Yeah.
in seconds.
Yeah. The cases look awesome. And I
Appreciate
saw the
that.
Super Team Canada one and I was like, ooh, I gotta go talk to Super Simon and
Yes,
get me a
sir.
code for my phone
That's right.
coming.
I feel like it would have been a huge missed opportunity to not cater to the talent layer of Solana super team. It just is obvious. And also, I myself, as a member of super team, I'm super happy to provide this.
Yeah.
And it also
Yeah.
is like something cool for us because we can onboard literally all of these core Solana users. These are top builders and
Yeah.
founders of protocols, and if we have them on the on-chain base, as I've said, it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fully support that. Um, so what's the highest selling phone case currently of your guys's
Uh,
section
it's
selection?
yeah, it's funny because we have designed a case just one day before the launch. It's called the Born Solid phone case. It's the dark one. It's a black one with
Yeah.
different phrases from the ecosystem on there. And we just dropped the case like uh, 20 minutes before we actually did our launch, and that ended up being the most popular phone case. I would assume because of the dark theme, and most people just like something
Nice.
casual, something. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that is minimalistic because we have some people really love it, and other people, I think the more serious people who would like to keep that serious tone on their, visibility as well and dressing and everything, they're like saying, why does it have trenches written on there? Like, I don't want that on there. I need to remove that. So we are definitely incorporating that feedback into the next batches and
Yeah.
trying to cater to
Yeah.
whoever wants a case. We're trying to make that for you.
I I see myself like getting like two cases. I have one really anonymous case when I'm walking around Paris,
Mm.
and then I've got my like conference case or
Yeah.
like with the friends, where you can really let the flare shine.
Hmm.
For sure, for sure. It's you got to be able to go to both. I'll put up a picture on the podcast of this Born Solid one. I'm checking it out right now.
Sounds
Very
good.
fun. Another question for you. The what August is the projected launch for the Seeker phone. How much more onboarding of cases do you think you're going to have before the launch, just to give people an idea of
Hmm.
how late they can wait
Hmm.
to buy before the phone comes out?
So it's a very good question, and it's a unique situation we are facing for the first time, but it's a challenge we'll have to take on, is because we are building a consumer product. Historically speaking, the activity in Web3 and everywhere is lower during summer. People are much more likely to,
Mm,
pay for their holidays. And I'm not saying they are unaware of what's happening. They are definitely tapped into the market, but they are much less likely, to spend money on stuff. They would just enjoy the in real life stuff. So, having that in mind, we are thinking of, first of all, whoever ordered until now, we are aiming to get them their cases just before the sticker starts shipping. So whenever the
yep.
sticker arrives, they can protect it from the get-go. And the other approach we are going to have is to focus on the seeker shipping because that's going to be a huge wave of attention. And we want as many
Oh yeah.
people to protect their devices as possible. And then as we lean into, the second half of August, more people are going to come back to school, back to work. So I think that's a period where we can really go crazy. I mean, with new case additions, bringing to life everything that has been requesting from us. And there's 152,000 seekers pre-ordered currently. And you also need to update your shipping address because it's been a long time since you guys pre-ordered it or everyone pre-ordered it. And we think that because of that, it's going to take quite some time, which is absolutely part of the game to deliver it and in a longer time frame. And I think it will also allow a lot more people who receive their phone and only then decide to get a case
Yeah.
because they feel like it's unprotected right now or something just looks good and they want it.
Yeah.
So I think we will just enable more stuff or list new additions later on. And we are going to keep the past editions also, but it definitely is something that the brands usually play with, that they remove some of the OG stuff and bring it back later so it has more
Yeah.
excitement. So we will figure out,
Yeah.
but you can expect some new cases. Yeah.
I like that. That's smart. That's super smart. I think your analysis of that situation is pretty bang on. I'm curious with supply chain. Um, are you guys finding it difficult? Is the lead time heavy? Are you able to ship these kind of globally and fairly fast? Like once the phone launches, what do you typically expect somebody to be able to go to the website and pay for it, and how long it'll take to receive it?
Yeah, it's exactly why we chose the pre-order basis for the cases in the first place, because we wanted to make sure that, first of all, there's actually enough demand for us to proceed with this. Now we have
Yeah.
actually hit our minimum order quantity, so we are confident that we can move forward, and we are aiming to ship this first batch just before the seeker ships. And looking into the future, I feel like right after this, if anyone just goes to the site and orders, it's most likely going to be a normal standard ordering process. It's not going to be in stock, but it's going to be produced almost instantly and then delivered hopefully soon after. So it's only this initial phase that was with pre-orders, and then we hope to just
Nice.
switch to normal orders as we go on.
It'll be like made to order,
Yes, basically.
which I think honestly people have to be willing to have a little bit of patience versus you having to buy a ton of supply and then end
Yes.
up with stuff that doesn't sell. There's too much waste in this world. It has
Especially,
to be made to
you know, especially with all the additions, like we don't know which one is
order.
going to go. Like we need
Yeah.
to make it as people demand it.
Yeah. That's very cool. Very cool. Um, I guess kind of like one of the last questions I have is sort of, and it might be too early for this question, but in the theme of this kind of podcast, I'd like to see how you think about it.
Mhm.
And are you seeing with where you've gone and where you've traveled and the feedback you've gotten that this is a product that you want to push like really far, that you'll eventually think about maybe doing a fundraise? Like, how do you like, where's your head with Solid? Are you thinking like, let's go for it?
Yeah, good question. Thank you for it. I believe that first of all, we are going to explore the maximum potential that Seeker holds. In addition to just being a hardware accessory for the case, Seekers and Solana Mobile themselves are revealing something awesome or like pushing an awesome initiative. It's called T-Pin, and also with the Seeker product, Seeker token, they're decentralizing basically the mobile ecosystem, and they are
Wow.
opening up a whole new avenue for even new manufacturers to incorporate the Solana mobile technology, the Solana mobile stack. So first of all, our aim is to just basically test as much as possible with Seeker, like get feedback from people, iterate on either the designs, the look, and also at the same time try to curate the best experience on chain for those who have gotten our case. And why this is really important in my mind is because this case is essentially a baby of consumer and Deepin because it's a physical something and it has digital tie. Obviously, it's not an actual device that works itself, but it's like a mix. And I feel like these
Hmm.
type of products essentially act as a Swiss Army knife when it comes to onboarding, because people are much more likely to buy something that they already know and then learn about crypto because they are incentivized to. Say we expand to iPhone cases or traditional devices and also open up card payments, for example, for traditional payments, and people can just simply get a phone case, and we are going to funnel them through a learning curve about the Soulbound token. But essentially, they don't necessarily need to know all of the details behind it. They just need to know that they are going to get something with it. And long story short, imagine an iPhone case that rewards you. People are going to be much more curious to explore what this is, how all these
Hmm.
benefits are coming. So all of this is happening on Solana. What is Solana? And it's going to I think be more appealing to some of these larger companies as well. Because being like a large case manufacturer, new iPhones coming every year, it's awesome, but it's very hard to expand
Yeah.
to a market which is new to your users, whereas us are approaching it from completely other end and already having that natively integrated.
That's really very interesting and kind of made me think a little more about it. And it's true. Like, imagine, you have a cell phone case in a store in a box, and it's like a Bonk phone. And
Hmm.
Bonk is one of those things where it's sort of even like Pump Fun or like something that it sort of transcends crypto a bit and it's more mainstream culture.
Hmm.
And you like, oh, buy this phone case. You become a Bonk community member. it includes 1,000 Bonk tokens, which is like dust or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you put the phone on to even your iPhone. And then because crypto, the way that it's gotten lately is you don't need to like download a hardware wallet and get a seed phrase. Like you can use a tip link, or, you can use
Yep.
Capsule, or
Exactly. Exactly.
I guess Parabolic. And then all of a sudden, boom, all of a sudden now you've got a wallet with your phone and some Bonk. And you're like, that was super easy and fun. And you're right.
Yes.
I think you're onto something there.
Yes, thank you.
That's really
This is
cool.
the vision, what I'm trying to achieve, or at least what I think currently can hold some great potential in the future. But
Yeah.
as I've said, in the initial phase, it's very great that we
Yeah.
have Seeker as a base device because those are firstly crypto native people. We can
Yeah.
learn from their experience very well, and that will help us a lot later down the road.
And it's you're doing the hard work too. Like you're building the infrastructure to support the NFT technology. You're building the brand out. Like you're integrating with artists so they can do stuff. Like yeah, you're doing a lot of like good steps that'll set you up for success. And I think like, there's a future where you can do other consumables, whether that's
Yeah.
apparel or, pack
Yeah.
sacks for backpack and like, whatever.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely
that's
agreed. There's also,
yeah.
there's hardware wallets, there's gaming devices that
Sure.
can, have all of these
Sure.
different stuff. Yeah, lots to explore, but currently heads down grinding to make this first experience as smooth as possible.
Very smart. Very smart. Well, Benny, is there anything else you want to say? That was pretty damn good.
That's it from my side. In case you haven't watched the first Solana transaction in space, make sure to watch that as well. Other than that, super grateful to talk about our vision and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Good times. Thanks for coming on the pod, and we'll check you later.
Thank you.